What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we are going to talk about the Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 10, Part 2 of the Siege of Mandalore. And I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, this episode was amazing. Amazing in every possible way. Visually stunning. Had me on the edge of my seat. The voice acting was on point. The dialogue was on point. The stakes felt real. And the way it intertwined within Revenge of the Sith was amazing. I was blown away. One of the greatest Clone Wars episodes ever. Maybe the best. I'm going to have to take a little time before I'm willing to say if it was the absolute best or not, but it's definitely among the best. And the big thing that a lot of people, I've seen a few people debating about Ahsoka and the fight with Darth Maul and how was she able to beat Darth Maul? You clearly weren't paying attention to that fight, because if you watch the fight itself, Darth Maul controlled the majority of the fight. Darth Maul dismantled her weapons. Darth Maul hit her twice, physically hit her twice. He had her on her heels, backpedaling constantly, had her dead to rights multiple times. Ultimately, she was dominated by Maul for the majority of the fight. I mean, I don't understand what people are watching. Ultimately, Maul got sloppy and Maul got arrogant, which is what Darth Maul does, and Ahsoka outsmarted him, which makes perfect sense considering he's not in a really good frame of mind as it is. So the entire fight was perfectly done, perfectly executed, and I was very, very happy with it. I know that there's people out there that are going to make their own, assumptions about things. There's an anti-Dave Filoni movement out there. And look, Dave Filoni has said some stupid things, some questionable things, but until I see that translate to the screen, I am okay with whatever the man has on his opinions. Now, yes, there has been things in the Clone Wars this season that have frustrated me. The editing of the nose art. There was a couple of other edits within the Bad Batch episodes that really did upset me. It didn't make me happy. I didn't think episodes 5 through 8 were necessary. I thought those two sisters were SJW looking. No, they were not SJW characters, but they were absolutely, positively unnecessary. No doubt about that. But when it came to these last two episodes, episodes 9 and episode 10, fantastic across the board. I loved everything about them. Ahsoka is my favorite Star Wars character, and she has been amazing ever since we got past episodes 5 through 8, because she was really irrelevant and boring in those episodes. But episodes 9 and 10, fantastic job by the entire crew on the Clone Wars, and I was blown away by so much of it. Now, in terms of how it intertwines with Revenge of the Sith, most of it works, but are there some criticisms that I'm willing to listen to and acknowledge? Yes. I do think Darth Maul, the fact that Maul is playing so much into this storyline, it does cause a little bit of issue for me within Revenge of the Sith. Ahsoka doesn't. Ahsoka's involvement on Mandalore doesn't really bother me. Obi-Wan is talking to Ahsoka about what is going on with the Jedi Council and what's going on with Anakin and all of that stuff. But I can understand why Ahsoka is not something that is mentioned in Revenge of the Sith, because she's no longer part of the Order and everything that happened. So what's going on with her isn't any direct involvement of the Jedi Council. So I understand why Ahsoka is not mentioned in Revenge of the Sith. That does not bother me. But with Darth Maul being alive and being there on Mandalore, intertwined with all of this, that does cause some continuity issues for me within Revenge of the Sith. It absolutely does. So I will listen to those criticisms. Those criticisms are fair, and I am not saying that they are not fair. But when it comes down to the Ahsoka element, no, I'm not buying any of those criticisms. Ahsoka has been training under Anakin Skywalker for years. Ahsoka has had failures. Ahsoka has been through ups and downs. She's literally had crimes pinned against her that she was not guilty for. She's been locked in prison for it. She's had her back. Every single person that she had faith in turned their back on her, except for Anakin Skywalker, the person that trained her. So yes, she absolutely can hold her own when it comes to Darth Maul. Absolutely. And anybody saying different just is not paying attention. She absolutely can hold her own. And not only that, Maul still dominated the fight for all practical purposes. He had her on her heels. He had her dead to rights. He dismantled her weapons. but ultimately she outsmarted him. And that is very believable, and it was very well executed. So, if you have not seen these latest episodes of the Clone Wars, I highly recommend it. I've had some people say, Jeremy, should I skip episodes 5 through 8? Up to this point, on episode 10, I would tell you absolutely skip those episodes. But I don't know what if they bring those garbage characters into this storyline, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be very pissed in terms of having an impact on it anyway. But as it stands, I would say, yes, you can skip episodes 5 through 8, but I would not recommend it. I would say just watch them and power through it because you don't know if it's going to come back around or not. Episodes 1 through 4 are very good. The Bad Batch, very good. The arc with the Weirdo Sisters is completely irrelevant and boring and useless, and I don't know why it exists, but I would still tell you to watch it, to power through it, and then when you get to episode 9 and 10, you're going to love it. It's so good, and I can't wait for the rest of this to play out to see what's going to happen. Now, the bigger thing here is, well, Jeremy, you're so done with Star Wars, and yes, I am done with Star Wars. It is obvious that Kathleen Kennedy has nothing to do with the Clone Wars. It's obvious this woman doesn't even know that Clone Wars is going on. She has no involvement whatsoever, and that's why it's so well done. That's why it's executed so respectfully. That's why it's happening, because this lunatic woman has nothing to do with it. It's obvious. So, yes, she's doing a good, Dave Filoni's doing a good job. Has he done a perfect job? No, because the nose art nonsense is ridiculous, and that is him bending the knee to his overlord Kennedy, who clearly doesn't even know that this is going on, but he's there to pander to her feminist agenda and her feminist ideology. But the way this is executed, and you look at how things are, now look, it's fair, and I have to be fair. At the end of the day, Kathleen Kennedy is the president of Lucasfilm. She still does get to have some of the credit for what's going on by the fact that she's not getting involved in it. So you have to give her some credit from that perspective. Fair is fair. But when you look at the wide gap between what's going on with the films, with the live-action films, and then you look at what's going on with The Mandalorian, and then you look at what's going on with the Clone Wars. You have the films, which are trash, beyond trash. That have nothing to do with Star Wars. You have The Mandalorian, which is pretty good, but it's missing something. It's not. It kind of fits right in the middle of the greatness of the Clone Wars and the terribleness of the sequel trilogy. And right there in the middle is The Mandalorian. It's not great, it's not terrible, but it doesn't have identity politics in it. So it's kind of right in the middle of what all's going on. Star Wars is like schizophrenic at this point. I don't know what to think with Star Wars. Ultimately, there is still a dark cloud over Star Wars, and until Kennedy is gone, yes, we can be excited about little things here and there, and the Clone Wars, unfortunately, is a little thing within the big scheme of things at Star Wars. And it's great. Right now, what we're getting is fantastic. But you hear announcements like what happened with Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant being brought on for a female-centric Star Wars, yada, yada, yada. And it just takes all the wind out of my sails. All of the wind. So we're going to continue to see what plays out, but ultimately, Star Wars as we knew it is no longer there, and as long as Kennedy is in charge, we're never going to get great Star Wars films for the foreseeable future, and that's just how it is. But the Clone Wars is amazing. It is fantastic. I loved everything about it. Watch these episodes over and over again. It is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video. Solo lost money. Reylos are weird. The Clone Wars is great again. And we will talk to you later.